This video is all about Drupal and AI. I had a podcast-style chat with Jamie, one of the driving forces behind the Drupal AI module. We talked about the history, about how everything came together, about today's capabilities, and we even went into some demos. Here is the video, here is the podcast with Jamie and Sean. Jamie, you're one of the key contributors to the AI Drupal module, but maybe you can introduce yourself quickly. What did you do in the past? What's your company, etc., etc. Short introduction would be interesting. Who are you?
Cool. So my name's Jamie. I co-founded Freely Give with my business partner Andrew Belcher. We've been in Drupal for a long time. I think my Drupal.org is 14 years. Got heavily involved in there was a big camp called Drupal Science Camp that Rachel put together, and and it was amazing. And that's why I got to know the community. And we also got involved in Drupal Camp London or Drupal Camp Croydon a while back. And our focus at the time was native Drupal CRM. So we started off as a very kind of almost company focusing on charities and like religious organizations like churches. And we were creating this church management system, and we thought we'd need this CRM bit of it. And I thought, oh, okay, my plan was it was going to take 3 months to build like a native Drupal CRM. It was not going to be a big deal. And we're still working on it, and it's been about 15 years later. But that was our focus. A lot of our clients, it wasn't CRM in like a Salesforce sales system. It was more like CVCRM, where it was like a basis for you to build contact-based applications on top of it. So a lot of our clients, we'd have like an event system. We had a claims management system for the rail network. We had like stuff for some small universities. And with the rail network stuff, when ChatGPT really took off, there were certain places where we were focusing so much on automation with, uploading your ticket and making sure we can automate how delayed you were, etc. And ChatGPT really early on, we found it was pretty good. Then we built all of these tools to analyze how good AI was, and we found we could get it to about 90% accurate when it did about 90% of them. And then we just took off. Like I just got obsessed. My business partner looked after the rest of the business, and I did nothing but focus on AI for that last year and a half, and it's been building up from there.
Yeah, so as I understand, out of this internal development, soon after kind of this idea about AI in Drupal as a basically a contributor module evolved. Maybe you have to explain it, because I was first in contact with the videos of Marcus. He had this website.
Workflows of AI.
Exactly, Workflows of AI, which caught my attention. Then, there were some modules around it. And then at one point you popped up and you kind of combined forces. Maybe you tell a little bit how the AI module as we know it now, and maybe for people who don't have the context, the AI module is obviously kind of the AI now contributed module that allows AI features within the Drupal content management system. We will go much deeper later, but maybe tell me a little bit about the history, how everything came together and how you basically built this AI team within the Drupal community.
Yeah, so I started playing around with AI a lot internally. And I submitted a talk for Drupal Dev Days. Was it Vienna? I think I can't remember. It was a while back. It was 2 years ago, and we thought we'd build some demos for it. So we created something we called Search API AI, which would extend Search API but allow it to do vector searching. And at the time, that was the hot topic, talking about that. So I gave a talk all about like the future of where AI could go, and I showed how there was like a really simple case where because these vector search had an understanding of the meaning of the terms you were searching for, it could find things a lot better than traditional approaches like that we do with Solo or whatever that's based around the text. So we built that module. I got obsessed with LangChain. That was the place. It's not a framework that a lot of people like to use to build production stuff, but it's a Swiss Army knife of like everything that's cool in AI went into this framework. So everything that people were doing, they would take the APIs and then build actual tools, like actual useful AI applications. And there was these design patterns that we found very early on would be very helpful for everyone. And LangChain became like the place for all of that. And so I gradually started thinking about either integrating LangChain into Drupal or re-implementing bits of it into Drupal. And one bit was this ability to do search with embeddings. I also built a really early sort of like a AI agent that could create views, but I get it so that AI literally generated the whole YAML of a Drupal of like an export. It was really, it could barely do anything. It would fall over at the last. It was constantly breaking, but I did get it to work. I could ask in natural language a report of the products on my site. It would write the YAML, and then we made an importer that would use the normal Drupal config stuff to import that YAML. So that was what we were doing. At the same time, Kevin Quillen from Velir, he'd made it was very successful, the OpenAI module. And we built on top of that. And that was like your way of connecting with OpenAI, which was the only thing at the time that mattered. Also, at that time, I met Frederick Wouters, who he was just more from a salesy point of view or from evangelizing about AI, was very excited by all the AI search stuff that we'd done. So we were chatting to him, and there was also a group that did something called Augmenters, who I think they're going to get back again. A few of them aren't that involved in AI stuff, but Martin is a little bit. So Augmenters was a thing. So there's all these different systems going along, but we kind of kept in contact. We were constantly talking to each other, trying to look for a time to combine forces. The way I see Workflows AI and the module that Marcus built is he also had a similar vision to me, but separately, of re-implementing LangChain. So I would say Interpolator is like a place to do what you can do with LangChain of chaining prompts together, but all in Drupal through a UI. And he actually did use LangChain to build stuff for his client, his company at the time, and quickly found that it was just a nightmare to combine all these prompts together, and you end up having to build UIs around LangChain anyway that you could have done in Drupal. So that's why he did that. When I saw Workflows of AI, I felt like Marcus got it more than anyone else, and so that's why I was like, you need to work with us. Like we have to. He was doing stuff in his free time. He had some potential jobs which he was allowed to do a couple of days of open source. And I just remember saying to him, like, why would you do a couple of days of AI when you could just spend all your time on AI? You know it's going to take over everything. Why spend any time doing anything that isn't AI related? So he joined us. And then basically Kevin reached out to us with this opportunity because he noticed about an opportunity with the AI namespace. And he was like, things were progressing in the AI space. It used to be just OpenAI dominating, but more and more models were coming out. And what was happening was everyone was building their own, Claude one or Google one, and these things couldn't communicate at all. And so he's called SEO Gao on in the AI module on Drupal.org. He'd created this LLM provider, but it wasn't very well known about yet. And so Kevin reached out to Marcus and then me, and he was like, why don't we take this AI namespace for the first time in Drupal, the thing that does something. The name of the module that does everything describes the thing it does. It's just as simple as like, what does AI module do? Well, it does AI. That's it. And what could we do with the namespace? And we found this LLM provider. We thought, okay, let's start with, instead of the OpenAI module, let's start with an abstraction layer at the core. The starting point is that it will work with any model. All of the features that we built, AI Interpolator, the search API stuff, the views creation, the augmenter, all of these things that people were doing, if we build on top of an abstraction layer, then all models that come out in the future we'll be able to just switch to. And then gradually we thought we'd actually bring a lot of those modules into it. We might have to split them out again in the future, but we brought them in because we thought, let's try and find a hub. So a lot of the AI stuff, rather than there was like the search API, the vector search stuff, at the time, there were a good 15 different modules on Drupal, all doing the same thing. And it's like, let's try and consolidate it. So we're all working on this one base. And I really felt like the long-term success of the AI module needed a lot of different companies working on this problem together rather than trying to do their own little piece, because we're not competing against each other. We're competing with a lot of people in the proprietary world trying to do what we do with AI. All these open source ones are very code heavy. And so, yeah, we got together, and Marcus took the LM provider, really worked on that. SEO Go put a lot of effort in bringing a search API AI into the AI module, but making it more robust and work more. And then things have taken off from there.
Wonderful. Such an amazing story, actually a beautiful story about how open source can work if people are willing to collaborate in a broader sense. And yeah, I think I tried it myself, and it's quite an achievement and super powerful what can be built on top of it. And I think it's super clever that you very early on decided to build this abstraction layer. Now we have DeepSeek, for example, and I looked up, there is already a plug, and you can, as I understand, you can use DeepSeek now within the Drupal ecosystem. DeepSeek was not known, I don't know, 1 month ago, and now it's already there. And thanks to that work and that collaboration, that's super cool. And I'm actually curious because I was at DrupalCon Barcelona. We also met there. At one point, and also Acquia and maybe other players in the Drupal ecosystem got in contact with you or with this group. Or how did that work? Because I see suddenly the AI and your group, you were also on the stage. It was like very visible, and for me, it was sometimes not very transparent what's going on behind the scenes and who's funding what and who has what interest. And maybe you can tell what happened once this group was formed, and then kind of the Drupal CMS product deadline was on the horizon. The 15th January this year, I made a video about that. Drupal CMS, the productized Drupal core, if you want to say it like that. And I think I have the feeling that the AI feature was really hyped as part of this release, which is, I think, a perfect strategy. But there was some collaboration also on that side. Maybe you can tell about that. Maybe also how the AI module got into the Drupal CMS as one of the core features of Drupal CMS.
One thing about DeepSeek, by the way, is there's a provider called Fireworks AI, which is a provider of a whole bunch of open source models, and also AWS Bedrock does DeepSeek as well. And so we built those two providers. And I personally would recommend using one of those for DeepSeek. I think they're going to be likely more secure than the DeepSeek provider, but it is there. So I've used Fireworks AI to do DeepSeek, and it's been really cool watching that model. It's so much cheaper. And that is a really great example of people were talking about it on Friday, and by the Monday, it's there. Your Drupal site can use all of the benefits, all the cost savings with DeepSeek. So how that kicked off. Like, firstly, we had Marcus, and we were working on this AI module, and he had already built a ton of cool things. And there was this one thing he made, which he called like mini Kanban, and he made this early example of AI agents, really early back in the day, to create a whole bunch of things. Like, you create content types, upload a picture, create views. Like, it did a lot of things. And there was this video we made, which I call Doodle to Web Form. It's on the Freely Give website, and it's like a 50-second short clip moving it. And from a personal note, I've talked a bit about before, I got diagnosed with ADHD and I started taking medication. And before that, my productivity was just terrible. But like, I'd got this new medication, things were going really well. I saw this Acquia Engage was coming to London. So I knew that a lot of the Acquia people were there. I knew that they had AI people who were interested. Someone called Deanna was head of AI at the time. And so I was like, I need to show it to them. I need to just show as many people this stuff. The stuff we do at the moment is too complicated. I love workflows of AI. I get why it's there, but we needed like a TikTok style 50-second video. And we made this video. And Marcus's first video was about 10 minutes. And then with my newfound productivity, I just wrote the script. There was like a 50-second thing, or was it 70 seconds, that showed the coolest bits. He had this 10-minute video, and I was just trying to pull out what is impressive. And you saw this thing where you start off with Marcus drawing a web form, and it's really rough. It says like dietary choices 1, 2, 3, and then he goes to this mini Kanban inside Drupal, creates an epic, writes up a task, uploads the image, assigns it, sets status to do, assigns it to an AI agent, and clicks go. And then you see in the mini Kanban, it magically moves. A project manager agent looks at the task, divides it among the worker agents that it's got. The first one is able to look at the image and describe the form. The final one is able to like take that description of a form and implement it into web form properly. And then once it's done, the review agent gives you moves into the review section of the mini Kanban. You click on it, you see a description of what it's done. You can click on, it's got links to everything. You click on that, you see a real web form being made. At the time, when I showed this to Dries, at the time, a lot of people thought it was like, do you want me to send you the link? At the time, a lot of people thought it was like we were writing the raw code or something.
Yeah.
Do you want me to send you the link?
Yes, please. Yeah, maybe we can watch it, because I think this is really it shows the potential, and it shows the power of what's possible.
Yeah, it's really helpful as well. Like, even now, we don't have mini Kanban in Drupal CMS, and it doesn't even work with the AI module yet. We haven't had time to upgrade it, but it really shows you what's going on behind the scenes, even with the Drupal CMS agents. Like the structure of those agents came from what Marcus had done here with Mini Kanban. So yeah, it's very short.
Yeah, and as you described, there was a handwritten wireframe basically, and this is now part of the Mini Kanban module, I guess. So it's kind of an epic, similar to what you would do in a project management tool like Jira. You write it down, and then you can say, okay, there is even a kind of these swim lanes where you have now describe it from Doodle, so it kind of converts the image to I don't know what exactly, basically to the config maybe or something like that. And so this is done all automated by the system. So there is no human interaction, if I understand it right. And at the end,
sort of.
And now you have the form that was created with the wireframe imprint. Super cool.
Yeah, so
really cool.
The reason why I say sort of is if you look back when it did the review, you can see a little post comment at the top. And it is something where these agents in the Mini Kanban, they can ask you questions and you can reply to them in the comment section, and it will base around that. So although this demo had the AI finally finishing it and build everything, you could have it so that there's a review step, and a human has to go in and say, yeah, I'm happy with that, type something in before you sign it off. And also this project manager agent can assign things to AI agents, but it can also assign tasks to human agents. So these tasks, some of them are done by AI, but we could use Mini Kanban to make it so you have a workflow where certain tasks are given to humans and then the AI thing's blocked and then the AI takes over afterwards. Or we could have humans heavily involved in the review steps. And because with each of those tasks, you've got like a log, like the AI is reporting on everything it's done, it really means that you can have human in the loop in a meaningful way. It's one of the reasons why I felt like Drupal is so powerful as an AI orchestration platform. Because if you start with Llama Index and LangChain, you're writing these scripts, it's all code, you're getting back code. And so, yeah, the way in which a human can investigate this stuff is only as much as the developer allows them to see. And it's so much faster to just speed through certain things that I think a lot of AI tooling built out of, these other open source tools will likely not have much of a logging or much of a human readable logging at least. But if you use these Mini Kanban things, it starts from the principle of I need to make it so everything's explained in natural language. I need to make sure that humans can inspect everything they need to do. Now, I'm not a developer myself, and so one of the reasons why I've fought for this so much is selfishly, I don't want to lose out on all these cool things that are happening in the AI world. I don't want it to be that I have to go back to a developer to build every single thing that AI can automate. I don't want to have to rely on a whole bunch of £10 a month SaaS AI tools that can do, my presentations, make my little diagrams. Every single thing is another bill that I have to do that don't interact. I wanted something that I could use and I could understand. And I'm seeing a lot of the people we speak to who they haven't got an engineering background. They've got like an English degree or a project management degree or philosophy or something. They'll talk to me about how in government they'll have these cool ideas and then try and implement it. They need developers, but the dev team, it doesn't answer to them. So then the project just dies as far as they're concerned. It's to them. And so these things can have humans in the loop at every single step of the way. So I'm really hoping that at some point we'll be able to upgrade Mini Kanban to the AI module and make it something that we start using again. And we've got a couple of things in line with that. But yeah, that was a side tangent. So back to the Drupal CMS stuff. So we started showing Acquia, and then I went to a dev days in Burgos, I think, and we had a bunch of talks there, and we were just showing everyone. And Gabor had seen some stuff about using AI in CK Editor. And so he came into the Hash AI on Slack, which is where we all are, and said, is there anything you'd be interested in trying to get into Drupal CMS? So I met with him, Christina, Laurie. I showed some of the demos that we'd made. And I had a whole bunch of visions for what I think AI could do, because Drupal has a reputation of being very hard to use. But what you can see with that Doodle to web form is with AI, we can make those UIs so much smoother. When you get into that initial thing with Drupal, like if you already have a view already there, it's actually not that hard to use. It's not that hard to edit what's already there. It's not that hard to tweak things. But when you're starting with a blank slate, it is a bit scary. And so I really felt like with what Drupal CMS is trying to do, if it doesn't do it with AI, it's a waste of time. It has to be with AI. That was my view. And eventually it got up to Dries. He found out about it. It was like we only had a few months before Drupal Barcelona before we started really building this stuff. And then we had these kind of weekly calls with the rest of the Drupal CMS leadership team about what we were going to show in the Dries note. And it just developed from there. I mean, really, I wanted to use something more structured for Barcelona. I wanted something like this, where it created a web form, created a content type, because at the time that was easier to do with AI. It was much more likely to succeed. But the problem is we also had recipes for that. So in the Dries note, we want to start with the event recipe rather than have AI do that. And so then Dries was like, well, we were trying to figure out how we do it. And then he started pushing for, what if we got AI to edit it? So we thought, okay, well, we'll try this chatbot. And I was very nervous about it because lots of people have tried AI chatbot agents to edit things and they don't work most of the time. But Marcus, within like a week, no, within like a few days, really, he put together this demo of us being able to edit a form with this chatbot so fast. And Dries wanted to talk to me about something else that we got planned. So we had this call. I was on holiday at the time. I was in a museum with my kids, but I just took this call and I was like, I know you want to talk about this, but Marcus just a few hours ago have made this demo. Let me show you this thing. And it was just so cool to watch it working, where you could change titles of fields and all these things. So then that became part of the journey. And we did a few other more advanced things like the views agents, which isn't there yet, and the migration thing, which was somewhat real. It didn't work that often, but yeah, that's how things happened, and then it's just it's exploded from there, really.
Really cool. What a wonderful story. Yeah, I think I mean the idea what you mentioned before to kind of simplify Drupal and access to Drupal, not only for tech people, but, for the site builder role or even for, just people who want a website. That was the core idea for Drupal CMS. And I think we really achieved that. And we kind of overachieved as a community, especially with the contribution of the AI module that even allows editing stuff, creating stuff, etc., etc. But I mean, without talking too much about it, why not just play around with it together? I prepared, first of all, I mean, this is the Drupal project page of the AI module. And I think these are all the people you talked about who, are now the AI mafia of the Drupal module, I would say. Thank you very much for that work. I think it's super, super cool. And I installed Drupal CMS, just like the module, the package you can download from Drupal.org. So let's assume I'm now a fresh Drupal user, haven't heard about Drupal that much, and I heard about the AI module. How do I go from here? How does it work?
Yeah, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to Extend.
I mean, I already know it. I go to Recipes.
Yeah, Recipes.
Yeah, this sometimes takes a while.
Yeah, so we've got a recipe there. There's the AI assistant.
Okay, so let's install it. Now I need an API key, and I think a lot of tutorials don't show that. So I'm already logged in at OpenAI on platform. I will create a key. So you can go here, API keys, and then you create the key. I just make AI demo, create it. And by the way, for those who think they can copy the key, it won't work. I will delete it afterwards. But so I'm gonna add it here. This also takes a while. What is actually part of the AI assistant recipe as of today?
Yeah, so one thing before is a lot of people have tried using a free account with Claude or OpenAI, and those are rate limited. So they're rate limited to, I think, like 3 prompts per minute. And there's quite a lot of prompts involved in these AI agents. If you're creating a field, it'll be like 6. So you'll be waiting for like 2 minutes for this very simple thing. So we don't really support the free tier. So the other thing is that you have to put some credits in. With OpenAI, it's like $5. I don't know exactly how much it is with Claude. I think it's similar. But you need like some money in the account before the agents will work. But yeah, like the thing in a recipe is obviously the core AI module, and you can see with a provider, we currently support Drupal CMS, Claude, and OpenAI, but actually we are looking at expanding the provider list, and we're really looking to find someone who will partner with the DA in providing more access to like the open source ones. So fireworks.ai is pretty good there, but we need a bit of a more streamlined experience. and we've also got Google Gemini now. So there's a lot more providers, but those are the ones that we started with in Drupal CMS. So that's the core of it. Then there is the assistance module. So the assistance module is the place where we store all the configuration of the chatbot. And the idea is you can customize your own experience of how that chatbot works.
Maybe let's see it, how that works. So this is...
Yeah, so you can see that's Drupal AI Agent Assistant. You can click Edit.
By the way, just for demo purposes, this is actually the assistant. It's a chat interface, and now here I can do stuff with my Drupal site, right? So for example, let's just do it and run it. Create a new content type recipe, or let's say, recipe, like a meal recipe. Come up with the fields needed. And now this assistant or agent will talk to the backend. And now it even suggests me the fields like recipe name, ingredients, blah, blah, blah. And then it asks me, so it's also human in the loop. I can review it. And now I can say, yes, let's do that. Let's create this content type. And by the way, this was just like 2 minutes to install everything. This is like mind blowing. And I already have like a super powerful AI powered platform to build stuff on top of it. Yeah. So maybe this takes a while. And while that's happening, you can explain me the edit screen here. So this is the assistant edit. And what can I do here?
So this is the instructions of how that chatbot works. So this controls the chatbot, and then behind the scenes are agents, and those have their own prompts and their own ways of working. So the assistant, they take what you've asked it to do, and it first decides, do I reply to you directly, or do I go and find some of the agents or tools that I've got available to me to solve this problem? And if it replies to you, it'll give you a reply, and we've got all like the formatting rules, the tone that we want to set, level of complexity that we give is all in the assistant instructions. And it will go and find an agent to solve your problem for you, and then write a prompt and pass on that agent. And the agents then go away and actually implement everything. And they'll then write a description of what needs to be done, or what's been done. Actually, we've sort of got these tools in Drupal that the agents speak to. Those tools produce a deterministic like log of everything they've done, which they pass back to the assistant, and then the assistant rewrites that log in a human readable thing and explains what it's done with links to all over the place. So yeah, you could change a lot of things. You could say, you could change the language it wants to talk. You could say, write in a way that's really aggressive and nasty to me. You could change the process. So we always have this step where it asks you, it gives you a plan and says, do you want to proceed? But if you went into the instructions, you could say, you know what, just do it for me each time. That thing about the planning is a little bit of smoke and mirrors. The planning step doesn't actually know much about your site yet. So the planning step will come up with an idea, but it's actually just from the LLM's own knowledge. And then when it implements it, it will like implement it, but with knowledge of your actual site. So sometimes it will create a plan to create an entity. And then when it tries to implement it, it's already there. Mostly that doesn't cause any problems, but we're planning on creating a real planning agent that doesn't have the ability to do anything. And then it will do something. We've also explored ideas of like making it so that the AI agent actually creates recipes like config, and then have it so that before you implement anything on your site, you would have to click a button, not just type in yes please, but press a button and say yeah, implement it. So that's those are a couple of little areas we're working on.
Okay. And as I understand this AI assistant configuration, this is defined by the recipe, And obviously now I can create my own AI assistants, and I can create my own instructions, and I can even enable just certain agents, or I can even write my own custom agent if I want to do that, right? Is that right?
Yeah, you can enable your own custom agent, and also this works for, we call it RAG or AI search. So if you install the AI search module, you can create an index in Search API of your content. And then you, as an action for your assistant here, you can provide that index. So, the use cases are, let's say we're going to do Drupal documentation, and you ask questions. Do we want to do it from its own training, which is going to be out of date? It might hallucinate. Or what we can do is make it so that whenever you ask AI a question, the assistant first does a search for snippets of text in your documentation, provides that to the LLM. It says like, here's a bunch of relevant pieces of text, and then it creates an answer based around that. So the assistant is the place where you can configure that, working with both agents and search.
I think this is something that was a little bit confusing for me, because now for me, the AI assistant is just from a mental model, a assistant for me as a website administrator. But what you just described, as I understand, is an assistant basically for the end user, for a public facing website to basically offer a advanced search capability, which is powered by AI. And as I understand, these assistants are not only to admin your site, but basically for any AI application you can think of, which builds on top of these tools. Obviously now this is the focus to assist you building the site, but you can build, as you mentioned, an assistant that helps you searching the site, or even I think at one session you described how you manage now your claim system, ticket claim system, and how that works. And I think this is also done using these kinds of assistants. So basically, there is this layer now which you can leverage and use to build AI applications on top of it. But I think this is kind of important to also communicate in a good way. That's why I'm kind of put emphasis on that at the moment. Just curious, maybe you have some comments on that.
Yeah, well, so what happens is the assistant is a configuration, and the chatbot is the final stage. So it's a pluggable system, so you can have lots of different chatbots. We're using something called DeepChat, which is a third-party library that someone called Roland found in the community, and he built a DeepChat integration module. And then we spoke to the maintainer of DeepChat, and he was really keen on, very happy to support us. And so we thought, Marcus built like a really quick version of the chatbot, but it was a bit of a mess. There were lots of things going wrong with it. So we thought that would be better, not built by the Drupal community. It's just a JavaScript chatbot. There's loads of them out there. But the chatbot is just a block that you can put anywhere on your site. And you can have that multiple times, like you can have with any block. And then in the configuration of the chatbot itself, you can select which assistant you want. So now you can have a lot of layers of permissions. We can have a chatbot for the front page that uses one assistant. We can have a chatbot for the admin screen that uses another assistant. The eventual dream is that we're going to have chatbots, a UI in it, where you could select through different assistants that it has. So at the moment, we've got this one monolithic chatbot, but I think the future is going to be one where there is a chatbot that helps you with views, another one for content types, another one for various different things. And then you would have this overall support chatbot that can orchestrate lots of different tasks, but then you would go into the views one to edit a view. I think it'll be something like that is our thinking. And so yeah, it's a block, so you can do whatever you like with it, put it all over the place. All of the permissions of blocks.
So yeah, just because I was also curious, how can I now create another chatbot? But as you just mentioned, it's not possible right now through the UI to create multiple chatbots and place it, or is it possible?
No, it is. Yeah, if you go to blocks, so if you just go to blocks right now, like the normal blocks UI.
Yeah, it's block layout, and now I can place block maybe, or how does that work?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And there you go, AI deep chat. There's an AI chatbot that's going to get deprecated, so that's going to go. It's the deep chat chatbot is the one you want. And now you can see there's different assistants you can pick from. And there's some settings here, mostly around the styling. Now you've only got one assistant on the site, but you could make another assistant that does something else that only has one of the agents, or if you saw an AI search, does the so you can have multiple.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I didn't know that. That's nice. And you mentioned before the log that's running behind the scenes. Is that somewhere visible, or how can I see the log of what's going behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, so the AI logging SEO Go has just released, has just started, almost finished, a complete overhaul of logging, and it's going to get way better. But just so you know, you have to actually install the AI logging module. So we don't enable that by default.
So I will do it now.
Yeah.
And yeah, by the way, just to show off that it worked. The recipe is now available, and we can create recipes now based on that. And yeah, obviously can add additional fields, etc. So that's cool. I just take a moment to install the module. Okay, now it's done. And now I have probably somewhere in reports maybe, or is it just in Watchdog or?
There's an AI logging place, so configuration AI,
Okay.
and then AI logging. And then you have to turn it on first before you actually get any logs as well.
Okay. Okay, so I just want to log everything. And now if I, let's say, add one field, Boolean favorite meal, for example, and now it's kind of logging behind the scenes. So that's what I assume. Okay, nice. And this is actually the communication between the LLM provider and the system, or also messages within the Drupal system.
Communication between the AI, AI and the external thing.
I see. Okay.
But what you can see is I've just sent you some screenshots. If I should share my screen to click around, but like there's this new AI logging version that we're doing. So those are a mess. Like you can see the front page, it's very complicated there. And then if you click on view log, you can see loads of stuff like the whole system prompt and everything. And me and Marcus can look at it and usually work out what's going on. But this new approach to logging that we're taking, we put a lot, Michael has put a lot of effort in making it really easy to understand what's going on. So the report page, you have to turn on LLM logging. So what we actually do is when we log everything, we also get the AI to summarize the logs. So then when you first see the report of every single log, you get a summary of what the user prompt was, and you get a summary of what the AI did. Because we try to do automatic things like show the last message, but a lot of the time the last message is just yes, please. So then we thought maybe the second message, but sometimes you're saying yes, please until you do it. So we actually then got AI to summarize the requested action and then get AI to summarize the performed action. And then when you click on view, the first thing you do is get this summary again.
Okay, I just go one. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's very nice.
Yeah, and if you go to the prompt itself, so the next one, the next image I sent you is a prompt.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, you see the conversation as you would see it, for example, in ChatGPT.
Sort of. So what this prompt one, what it's sending is it's visualizing, making it easy to see, but it's showing you the exact prompt we actually send to ChatGPT. So ChatGPT doesn't actually have any memory. It doesn't actually do history. What's happening is when you think you've got history, what's really going on is with every single API call, you're sending ChatGPT the question and a system prompt and a collection of the history of your chat. So what you see here is it's slightly nicely designed so you can see it, but this is what we've sent to ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's just a picture, but you'll actually be able to scroll down on the real log, and there's a download button where you can download the prompt and then just put it into playground.openai.com and then play around with that prompt in your other system. So you can then try out things or debug stuff by actually seeing the actual, not quite raw API call, but the closest to the raw API call that we send. And same thing with system prompt, which is huge. But when you download it, you get the whole system prompt as well, and all the history and the prompt that was sent. What we're going to have is we haven't got it there, but there's also going to be another tab called thread. And then you'll be able to click on thread and see where this particular log fits in the whole thread. And then you'll see all the different API calls. And what happens is sometimes the actual history that the user sees is not quite the same as what we send to OpenAI. So sometimes we actually fake an assistant message. Like if we come along and do a vector search for the query and we've got a list of stuff, what we do in the chat history is we make it look like the AI found that itself. So it will have a message, an assistant message saying, I found this list of stuff. And the next one will be then its response. And so there's other times when you look at this prompt, there's assistant messages that the end user didn't see. But when you see threads, you'll be able to go through and see everything that they actually saw. And so this logging system there is there, but it's a mess. This new one, it's going to be out, I'm hoping next week. And it will make it much, much easier to see what's going on. My hope is from this chatbot, you'll be able to turn on a button and click on any one of those chats and take you to the log. And then we're going to have an evaluation system where you can do thumbs up or thumbs down. And also, if you have any problems with your site, you'll be able to download the log and then upload it to Drupal.org, and then other people can troubleshoot it in far
I
detail.
see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I also try to build stuff with the AI module, and it's clearly something you have to know where to go to see that. But I see things quickly evolving. The screenshots you shared is super cool, and I think it will be a big help for site builders and developers to build more AI capabilities within Drupal. But what else can I do with the AI module now in Drupal CMS?
Yeah, so we've got Automators and AI search. I would say there's like four categories of things you can do. So there's AI agents, which we've already talked about. There's search, there's automators, and then there's sort of like MISC, random simple stuff. So the really MISC random simple stuff is things like we've got CK editor assistants. And that allows you to have like a CK editor assistant that you click on in CK editor, and it can do things to your content. And it uses automators, so you can actually do a chain of things. So you could do things like summarize the text, but you could also do things like change the tone. You can change it to your corporate brand guidelines. Is one thing you can do. But we did some really interesting stuff where you could take a location in your content, and Marcus on Workflows AI shows how we can build an automator which takes that location content, goes on, finds it on a map, goes in, finds a Google reviews, and then summarizes the Google reviews and puts that into your content directly. So it had a whole series of tasks to put it into your CK editor.
So maybe we can just try that out. So I just configure the editor. So I think I have to here AI CK editor, right?
You need AI CK editor and you need automators installed.
Okay, I assume the dependency
I think it's there.
Was also installed.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So now I configured that. Let's create a basic page, maybe.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, here AI writer idle, and now.
Have you configured the button? You have to go. So in the CK editor stuff, you have to move the CK editor button into the toolbar.
Yeah, I did actually here. I think it's this one now. Active toolbar AI CK editor.
No, not there. So that's a CK editor. Yeah, that. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's in the active toolbar.
Be there.
And then have we enabled the AI tools?
AI tools here, or do I need to enable something here? Here I can create the tone, for example.
No, so those aren't enabled. So yeah, you have to enable one of those tools. So
okay, so I have the summarizer, I have the tone, I have generate with AI. Okay, whatever is.
The tone needs you to create a taxonomy first. So you create a taxonomy for the different tones that you're going to use. So at the moment you select tags, but you'd probably want to actually create a real taxonomy.
Okay.
So I mean, you could do that now.
I leave that out for the demo. Yeah.
I mean, you could do it now with the Drupal agent chatbot.
Okay.
You can ask it to create you a taxonomy term of different text terms.
With two text tone terms. One is professional and the other one would be casual, or let's say pirate language. Yeah. So you have to get used to that it's now available and also quick to use. That's super powerful.
Yeah.
All right. Then, it takes a little bit of time, but yeah, okay. So maybe let's try out the other summarizer and stuff. So now I have whatever text. Maybe we just take this text here as a demo. And now I can mark it and then AI assistance. And then I can, for example, say summarize. And then it makes a suggestion, summarize the current selected text, suggested summary.
Yeah.
Now summarize.
Summarize.
Okay, I see. Nice. Save to editor. Okay, wow. And then I have, for example, fix spelling or generate with AI. Okay, so I can say write about AI features in Drupal CMS. And yeah, I mean, this is, I used the OpenAI CK editor module, and this is now much more advanced, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. And Marcus on Workflows of AI, I don't actually know how to do it off the top of my head, but on Workflows of AI, you can create custom automator flows for these to do like quite advanced, to make new assistants that can do like a whole variety of advanced things.
Wow. Okay, okay. So let's go back to the taxonomy. But do I need to configure something in the taxonomy?
I don't know if you do. You can do so. You can because what you can do is in the taxonomy terms, you can write in the description more information about how to do that. So if you're going to do like a corporate tone, you could write down exactly how to do a corporate tone.
I see. Okay. 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 I won't demo that at the moment. I think it takes too much time, but I get the concept. So yeah, by just enabling one module, you have all these CK editor advanced AI features configurable, super powerful. That's quite amazing. Nice.
Mm.
And then you mentioned these automators. So now it's not installed. What is this? What is the concept of automators?
Yeah, so this is the thing about LangChain. So I think, yeah, go ahead and install it. What it does is it works on a field and allows you to automate the content in that field by calling an LLM, doing something, and you take what the LLM does and put it in that field. So that's the basics of it. But what's cool about it is the prompt that you send to LLMs can have tokens in them. And they can they can operate through an entity in order. So what that means is you can actually start building some actually quite complex and reasonably accurate applications using Drupal, where you create a content type. One example we had was a tool we built for event organizers to analyze venues. So we had one, automators aren't always LLMs. They can do things like scrape websites. They can use a whole variety of tools. So we had an automator that went, you put in a whole list of venue URLs, it goes to URL, scrapes loads of data about them. It summarizes that data. It pulls out the key information into fields like the address and stuff. It goes to Google reviews, pulls in loads of reviews. It then summarizes those. It then analyzes how good this venue is for your target market, which you put somewhere. And then it all puts this in the entity, which you can then display in a view and see a summary of all of these different things. So automators are very powerful. So I think if you go into like one example I like to do is like make a style guide automator. So if you go into structured content types and just go to like the basic page or any of the ones that you've got there, yeah, and manage fields. So let's create a new field and we're going to call it.
Here
Let's
I
call it
don't have
plain
to
text.
select a specific field. So it's not like an
You do,
automator field or something. I do. Okay.
correct.
So which one I
Oh
need
no,
to
sorry,
name?
no, sorry, no. You have to select a specific field depending on what you're trying to achieve. So in
Ah,
this
okay.
case,
I see.
we're going to do plain text. The
Okay.
automators automatically work with different fields. So there's an automator for images that will use image models to generate images, for example. There's automators for entity reference ones that use taxonomy. That's different to the list ones, which is different to plain text. So I go, yeah, plain text long, I think,
Okay.
and do style guide.
And now I can enable the AI automator module.
Yep. Right, so you got audio to text. Automated type should be, let's go for LLM text. Simple.
Okay.
Okay. Now there's two different modes. So the base mode is sort of a simpler thing, and then advanced mode allows you to basically use any token across the site. So for now, let's use the base mode, and then make the base field. So this is the field that is going to work. It's going to pull information from. Let's make it content.
Okay. So basically here I define what is the context I want to send together with my prompt to the AI. The AI will give an answer and this I will save to that field I configure here. So basically this is the automation part. And as I understand, if I would go to advanced, I'm able to browse the tokens and can take whatever. I can take the Drupal site name. I can take the current user, whatever I want. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
That
and
makes
one thing to
sense.
note, when you do base mode, you do have to manually type in so if you go to placeholders available, This has like very simple, just underneath the helper text of automator
Oh, I
prompt.
see. Okay. Okay.
So you have to copy in context. So what you will say is, yeah, you'll say something like, take the following content and analyze how good it is at fitting our style guides. And one example I gave is our style guide says you should always say the word poultry, never the word chicken. And that's it. And rank it out of
Okay.
10.
Or
And you
let's
could,
say make the text more sound like it's from a pirate, for example.
right.
And then I say text, and then I can give the raw context, and then
Usually I would go for the context, not raw context.
oh, okay.
So raw context will give you like HTML and all that kind of stuff. And then context
Okay.
will just give you
Just the text.
and then scroll
Okay.
down. If you go to advanced settings, okay, so then this is where you can specify like which model you're going to use. Also the weight. Sometimes you need these things to happen in order. So sometimes you need to make it so that one thing happens first, then the next one. And then there's different workers. You can have it on cron, batch, direct. Direct is fine because it's just a one-off automator, but direct will be very slow a lot of the time. So usually you need it on queue or cron.
Okay, I see.
We're really hoping async stuff starts happening in Drupal, in which case, yeah, then you can have it in.
Yeah. So let's say if I have direct and for example, I'm writing my blog post or whatever, I hit save. Then while it's saving, it's also communicating with the AI LLM, which obviously takes a couple of seconds. And if you have very complex automator configurations, it can take a lot of time. I guess that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe it's a simple example, just to keep it simple. Let's use direct if that's okay.
Yeah, that's good.
And then here I have the AI provider. I think default advanced JSON model is okay. And then I hit save. And now I create a new basic page. And let's take this text again. So test automator. And now, okay, this is description. Now this is the input, basically. And this is the style guide. And I assume that this will be filled after I hit save, right? Yeah, and so this opens up crazy possibilities. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the pirate talk. Wow. I see. Okay, very powerful. And just want to repeat it because it's so beautiful. I didn't install I had to install a module, but I didn't have to use code whatsoever. I didn't have to, add and buy an additional SaaS service. And this is a very simple demo, just changing text to one text, but I saw videos to generate podcasts, audio outputs.
Right.
You can create or generate a teaser image based on the content of a blog post, for example, etc., etc. I think the opportunities or the possibilities are, just the limit is your imagination, I would say.
Yeah. And if you go to workflows of AI, I wonder if you should show it off there because.
Oh, yeah. So this is the website of workflow. Maybe is it this one? Workflows of AI. It's not working.
I think it doesn't do HTML. It's workflows of AI.
Okay. So workflows of AI. I will also put these to the show notes so people can find all the links anyway. Yes. So there are many demos about it. Maybe you wanted to show something, or this is just a website that shows all the possibilities?
Just showing them so you can see. The first one is really good of setup example Seek Editor AI Assistant. So if you click on that one, you can see that there's a video there and a description. Now, one of our dreams is we're working with the people that have made DrupalForge.org, and there's a company behind it called DevPanel. And what we're hoping to do is, at the moment with the Drupal trial experience, there's no AI at the beginning. There's no AI installer. You have to go to project browser, click extend, recipe, and then you can start doing things. But you have to get an API key. So there's quite a lot of steps in the way for you trying out these AI tools. We want to try and find if we can find a more seamless approach to this. And so we're working with DevPanel to create a system where behind the scenes, we will use our API access, but then provide you a dedicated API key with a really small amount of credits on it. So we'll still have the rates proper, but like you might have like $1 credit on it. And that means you'll be able to click a button like launch, like Drupal CMS plus AI. You click launch and it's just there. You just immediately go you're in the admin page, the agent's there, it's working, you can talk to it, you can do things with it. Our dream is to extend it further and improve this, not necessarily improve workflows AI, we're probably going to rebuild something similar, but we're going to get this there's like 80 videos. There's so many proof of concepts I've built of things you can do with this. I want to get a library of not just freely give ones, but ones that other people have made, where every single item will have a video of how to do that, of how it works, a video of how to build it yourself, a recipe so you can apply it to your site just straight away. But then there'll be like a launch button where you can go straight into a demo that will demo that particular thing, like that event organizing one, and you'll have admin access to it so you can see how it's made. And I'm hoping if I can do this, it just means that I reckon this site, when we build it, which we're hoping in the next couple of weeks, we've got some ideas of how we're going to do it, but I think this will hugely increase the ability to get adoption and understandability of what it can do. Because rather than just like hearing these ideas and me walking you through it and you clicking in slightly the wrong place or forgetting to put in context, you can just see the recipe's there. It works. And like it's start editing it and trying things out.
Oh, that would be even better. I mean, okay, finding an API key can be a blocker. And if you can even take away that would be even better. And I mean, in the end, it's already super cool. And if you just, I think, provide documentation, also up-to-date documentation, this is maybe something. There are still lots of the old modules around, and if you're new, then you kind of don't know what is now the real thing. But this is just a thing about documentation, where to go to find the real stuff. But yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, so we checked the Automators, and you wanted to say something about it, yeah?
Well, I was going to say, I think the future is probably going to be that we're going to split out a lot of these submodules into their own module. I think the Drupal.org community with project browsers still trying to figure out how we're going to do things moving forwards. So like rather than submodules, will everything be like AI ecosystems in project browser? Will that be the way that we collect modules together? One problem with having all of the submodules is they don't have their own space and are indexed separately. So we don't have like a place for AI search. We don't have a place for, all these other things. And the other problem we have with it is, but then the problem with splitting them up is keeping track of issues across multiple modules is so hard. So like having it all in one place made it a lot easier, and knowing that everyone has all these submodules means we can make them all integrate with each other much more easily. So we're still trying to figure that one out. I don't know if we can go through it in detail today, but if you click on AI search, that's the other really big module. It is complicated. It's the only one that's still experimental. It does work really well, but what you need a new database called a vector database. So we support Milvus. There's a company called Zilitz that does SaaS-based versions of Milvus. The Milvus open source. We also support Pinecone, which is a SaaS proprietary vector database. There's a ton of vector databases coming out soon, but that's one thing you have to set up. Then you have to index your content, and there's a whole bunch of like skills for doing that. And then finally, you then set up an assistant that interacts with that vector database to give you responses.
Yeah, I think we won't demo it now.
I think AI search is going to massively take off.
Yeah. Cool. Wonderful. Yeah. So it's also here. I mean, we did similar things like this, but we had to build our custom way around it to enable it. And now it seems to, be available as part of contributed modules and stable, etc., etc. So super cool also about that. Yeah, maybe we can also kind of wrap up it slowly now. And I mean, we went through lots of things, how the group came together to build the AI stuff within Drupal. That's super cool. And also the AI module, which is now released, version 1.0 is out and part of Drupal CMS. Also, basically, it's you can install it on any Drupal site, right? Or on any modern Drupal site now. It's available. And I'm just curious, you already talked about what's on and what's coming. Before we started the recording, you also mentioned that you are preparing stuff for DrupalCon Atlanta, and you didn't want to, unveil and stuff. Maybe you can say what's going on with the Drupal AI ecosystem right now, and what are the next steps?
Yeah, it's so cool. There's so many things that we're working on. And one of the things that's happening is the team you saw, the kind of, the dream team on the AI module page, it's getting bigger than that now.
Okay.
I'm finding more and more clients are just more and more organizations, and including heads of organizations, like heads of agencies, are really committing to building things for the AI module. So some of it we can't talk about, and some of it we can. It's all happening in Hash AI at the moment. So if you go into Slack, that's the best place to find out what's going on. Little sneak peek, there's this MCP module that came out, and that is like a REST style framework for external agents to talk to your Drupal site, but it's got like permissions and security layers. And so somebody's got this thing where they've got Claude Desktop working, and they can type into that, and it uses the agents inside Drupal to control things. Dries on his blog, he's been playing around with AI generally now, like building little demos with things like Llama Index and LangChain. And he created this AI agent that was like clicking around his Drupal site trying to do things. So he's going to see if he can try and get his AI agent that clicks around to also call the AI agent in Drupal and see if that makes it more likely to succeed. ECA, and you said you're speaking with people at ECA, like we're starting to talk to the ECA people a lot more because there's a lot of overlap in what we try and do. And there's a AI ECA module on Drupal.org now. There's one in the AI module. We're probably going to deprecate that or bring in functionality into the one that's outside. And that actually creates an agent. I haven't tried it out myself. It got released on Friday, but it creates an agent that through the chatbot, you can create ECA workflows with natural language. You can describe what you want to do, and it just sets up the whole thing. It looks so cool. But also, when you're building agents at the moment, the concept of an agent, there's a bunch of really good resources about it, but an agent is essentially like a bunch of instructions, like a prompt, and tools. And the tools are things that agent's able to do. And then a special kind of tool is its ability to hand over to another agent. If it can't solve it itself, it does it something else. So in our system, we're going to be improving it a lot, but in our framework, every agent, you've got like a field agent, taxonomy one, the assistant sends a message to it, and it's a prompt. And then that agent has a project manager one that figures out which of the sub-agents it can use. And it creates a plan, like in Mini Kanban, and then executes those things. But the way it executes those things, the way the tools are done, is it essentially gets the LLM to write PHP arrays, which then Marcus implements into Drupal. One of the ideas we had is, what about if we use ECA actions? So what about instead of having it so that Marcus has to write this completely custom thing for every single module, we use ECA actions and we created some kind of layer so AI can create the instructions for those ECA actions. And then suddenly AI agents can make use of all the tools that ECA actions already make use of. And it would mean that there was a very consistent way that Drupal developers could target and create their own agents. My dream is that we'll have such a clear way of handling those tools, because the tools, all they need is a name, a description of how to use it, a bunch of parameters that are the input, and how to write those parameters. And so if we had all modules creating their own ECA tools with all their functions, we could have a place where we could have a UI where you create your own AI agents by similar to those assistants. You just type in the user prompt, pull in all of the different tools that you want it to be able to use and how it's supposed to use them, and then off you go, and then bring them into a swarm together so they can all talk to each other. My dream is one where basically every single module on Drupal is essentially its own agent. And so whenever you have a new Drupal site, you'll be able to ask your own AI agent to create you some functionality. It will go and search Drupal.org and find all the right ones, pull them in, and then they have their own agents to configure every one of them. So that's kind of my dream of where that's going.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm excited about it. Yeah, again, I think thank you to bringing the group together and pushing the things forward. if people want to help, you mentioned it before, go on Drupal Slack, #AI, and there is Drupal events coming up. Look out for these Drupal events. DrupalCon Atlanta is, I think, in April or May. I don't know exactly. And I think we could talk another hour and go deeper in stuff that's happening. Let's make another video in a couple of months and see where we are. I think it was super interesting for me and hopefully also for our audience. And so thank you, Jamie, for coming and talking. And I heard that you became a dad recently as well.
I had my second child recently. Yeah, I've got a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I hope you still find time for your family, not only contributing. And but see you soon. And until then, have a good time.
See ya. Bye.